Hey guys, welcome back. So here we are with the uh, Diesel House, and as promised, I finished up putting in all the track supports here, um, and I have done the base. Now these were kind of a pain. I think you might be able to see that the legs on this are sort of all slanted, which I'm a little bummed out about. I did my best to try to get them vertical when gluing them, and then I thought it would be a good idea to. So I actually, while the glue was kind of soft, I put them into all the holes, which was a huge pain in the butt. And then I used all the paint cans to hold it down. Well, I didn't accommodate for the weight of the paint cans, kind of causing it to shift. So this, unfortunately, is pretty dry, and it's not. It'll allow me to work with it, but so this other one I did this morning, and the glue is still a little soft, so I think I've got a little leeway room to play with them, and they're pretty crooked too. So I think I'm gonna try to get this in while this is still workable. The other thing that I've done to prep this, okay, this is the front of the front of the building where the taller part is, so it's the front for me. I have pre-drilled some holes where I want the wiring to come through. So if you can see here, there's a hole here and a hole here. That's a 1/32 drill bit, and I'm going to run two wires for these platforms up here, the center platforms. Then just down here, it's really difficult to see, just in there, there's a 1/16 hole on each side under where the rail will be, so that way I can bring wire in and solder into the rails, which I am hoping to do a little bit later in this episode. So the last thing I did was over in the corner, there's another, in the corner there's another 1/32 hole, and that'll bring power over to this side and another one over here. So the last ones I drilled was just, right here in this slot, and then right next to it behind that slot, and the wires will actually hide behind the I-beams that go here. They'll go on the outside. They may be visible from outside the building, but I don't care. It'll be pretty hidden. I think it was a somewhat clever way of hiding the wiring that's going up to the ceiling lighting. And then I'll just use that one lead there for the entire lighting in the upper part of the building. So that's kind of what I've done for prep. I also went ahead and I took some brown spray paint, I don't know, same brand as this, the Valspar flat, and I spray painted a couple pieces of Walthers Flex Track, and I've used a bright boy to just clean off the top surface. And what we'll do is we will cut it to length, pop out the appropriate ties, and get it soldered and wired in. So that way we can finally have our track in place, and then we'll also work on the lighting for the platforms and get that wiring in place. So, and since this is still somewhat tacky, movable, barely, maybe we should do the lighting on this first. All right. So on this platform, the plan that I was thinking was that I would run LEDs on the outside of both platforms, and that would give the best possible light down into the inspection pits. So this is the strip of LED lighting I got. It is got this on Amazon, really wasn't that much. So it's 12 volt, 24 watts, and there's 300 lights here. It doesn't come with a power supply, but it does come with this little, I think it's a 3.5 millimeter by 2.1 millimeter female plug. And then there's lights every 3 in series with 1 resistor. And then there's little cut marks. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm just going to cut this. I did get some other ones that it turns out that they were waterproof, So they have this little like gel silicone over them that makes a mound, and it's a little more difficult to clean up. But anyways, I just did a quick test fit, and it looks like it's almost too wide to fit in between the lip here and the rail, and I'm already messing things up. So what I might need to do is use the scissors to just notch it on each one of these. It's kind of a pain, but let's get it cut to length. I'll just go here, just eyeball it. Yeah, it's barely gonna fit, so maybe we just go to the next cut point. Go here. That. We have one. We'll just duplicate that. We'll come here. Go to the next cut point. Okay. So here's our strip of LEDs, and we've got positive and negative. And if I put this here, align it, I could probably, depending on how I align this, it's going to be really difficult. I was going to say I could cut out just a smidge of a notch on each of these, because it may be really difficult to see in this lighting. Sorry, I don't think it's going to focus. You can almost barely see the little white lights, or sorry, white lines of the wiring. So I know, let me just see if I can get this to focus on that. You may be able to see it. If not, it's not a big deal. So anyways, I can see where the wiring is. I may be able to make a small cut using, that's interesting, right here. Didn't even notice this. Obviously, these are not continuous bands, but it looks like here's a factory connection of two sets. Anyways, I will, let me try to figure this out, and I'll be back. Okay, lesson learned. I'm glad I tested. I thought the best thing would be to cut notches here so that they could fit around these posts. However, one thing I wanted to test, and I couldn't tell, is if there were any lines right along the power lines right along the edge here. Well, it turns out there are. So I took this back upstairs and touched the metal points together, and basically all the LEDs lit up until here. So these did, and then these were dead. So I'm gonna have to throw out this section and come up with a slightly different game plan, because I need to figure out a way for me to get these attached. They'll fit this way. So another thing I could do is run a piece of styrene along here, just so that they have something flush to mount against. Okay, everything's more complicated than it probably needs to be, but I did happen to have this sheet styrene, and there was this pre-cut piece which actually fits practically perfect in there, both in height and width. It's just a little long. Anyways, I do have, I do have another piece of styrene here, which is apparently the same thickness, but I would need to cut an additional 3 pieces from here. So that's next. Okay, now that my boiler is turned off, we can actually talk. I didn't actually use the pre-cut one because it's just a smidge too big, and I managed to use this paper cutter to get it sort of accurate in a straight line. And so I've cut pieces and broken off 3 I-beams so far. Fun times. But anyways, I got the little pieces in there, and then I got the LEDs stuck on, and you almost can't even see them. So I should probably test them to make sure that this works. But what I'm going to do is from these points here, I'm going to solder together some wires, and then I'll run a single wire or a single set of wires back under the platform here. So that's what I plan on doing next. Okay, so this was a huge pain in the ass. But I did get it. Alright, I did get it wired up. I'm going to go test it, and then from there I will be able to attach the leads and then possibly mount it. Okay, back in the lab. If you haven't been following on with my electronics series, I've got the Arduino Mega and some other gadgets. This is all eventually going to be the source of power for the diesel house. So anyways, I've got a 12 volt adjustable power supply hooked up to the Arduino, and then with the VIN out, it's just going over here. So the yellow is the negative, the blue is the positive. Over here, I was just playing around and testing with a voltage regulator, and that's just dropping the current down to 5 volts. So what I'm going to do is so positive is the blue, and negative is the yellow, and touch those, and voila, we have light. Cool. All right, so we know that works. We just need to hook up our leads, and we'll be good. And then we can start fixing all these legs, and hopefully get this put back together. All right, see you on the flip side. All right, so here we are. I've run a section of blue and yellow wire. I know I did this in red and black, but I decided for the sake of keeping my future layout wiring neat and consistent, black and red will be for track only. And I'll use all the other colors. I have this package of, what is this, 22 gauge wire. I'm just going to use this for feeder wire, and I figured it probably will work pretty well for what I have. So I'm going to use blue for negative and yellow for positive. So I'm going to go ahead. I tried to put a little piece of tape on this, but I honestly don't think it's worth it. I don't know if it's the tape that I have or it's not very good. So I'm just going to quickly remove this from here. Now it doesn't want to come off. All right, whatever. I'll just cut it. There we go. Cut that piece. Cut this piece. Get that piece off. I don't know. I was thinking about just trying to keep this is not visible as possible, but honestly, I don't think anybody's gonna notice. So I've already kind of measured this out. To be the length I want it to be. My soldering iron should be hot. And where'd my little piece of solder go? There we go. A little scrap piece of solder here, and then I'm just going to go and lay a tool across here just to help it hold in place. And let's see, I just want to make sure you guys can see this. And go ahead and solder the blue to the black here. I'm trying to melt my plastic. All right, and now I just need to get this down a little bit and over. There we go. And solder this piece on. Come on, fella. It's not liking that. And I'm running out of solder. Just grab myself another little piece. And solder went flying. Little solder ball. Okay, let's try to move this down. Set that there. Let's try this again. It's been a while since I've really had to solder anything. I used to work in an electronics plant when I was in high school and college. But their equipment is better than mine. Okay. I think that's good enough, at least for government work. Alright, so we have our solder leads on. Now comes the part that I'm dreading, is trying to fit every little peg in the hole. I've done it once before while trying to get this other one to dry, and I wanted to cry. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to do it off camera because I'm sure there will be some serious swearing. And then I'm going to try to do the lighting on this and get that done. And then I'll come back to you. All right, talk to you later. Okay, so after some cursing and fussing and a little cutting, it looks like I've managed to get all but one into the little slots. They are a complete pain in the butt, and as you can see, I've had to weigh it down because some of them don't like to fit perfectly, and because they don't fit perfectly, they put pressure back up, which keep the neighboring ones from wanting to go down. So I've had to very carefully with a toothpick apply super glue because it's the fastest thing that I have. However, the thing that I don't like about the super glue is it tends to be a little glossy after it dries, so you can kind of see it, which I don't know if that's going to be a big deal or not. But whether it's a big deal or not, I'm clearly being meticulous with this whole project. So it's kind of a pain. I'm hoping that the next one goes a little easier because I had less trouble setting those in the holes last time, and they I think they're going to line up easier. So this one just didn't go together that well. I did have one post come out, which I will, once it's all dry and I can tilt it, I'll put a little more, I'll put some super glue or something to try to get it in because I just don't feel like dealing with it. It's a complete pain in the butt. So while this dries, I'm probably going to go cut my other pieces and work on my wiring and get that going while this sets up. One of the things I wanted to do better than I did on this one is to flatten out the leads so that they can hook up here, because I feel like the leads, they stick down, and now I'm really hesitant to like get in there and bend them, because if they break, it would be impossible to try to, I'd have to tear it all apart, and at that point it's probably not worth it. So I just finished testing this, all the lights work, so I'm going to try to solder it up and go to stage 2 hell of trying to hook this up. So that went surprisingly well, probably because of the way I set the pins previously. Not really sure why I couldn't do it with the other platform, but it's done. The glue is setting the super, I mean, it literally just snapped right into place. So the glue is setting, everything's wired. I may temporarily just hook these ends up together. I made the leads a little long just on purpose. I'm not gonna really go full tilt on the bottom of this because I still have two more platforms to wire in, and that requires the walls being in place, and um, and then I have the roof lighting to do, and there's a servo per door, and then there's going to be two speakers in here. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to go underneath, and I'm still thinking, how the hell am I going to do this? Because there's not a lot of space on the bottom. I may either have to build something out of wood or build something out of like 3D print something that sort of lifts the whole base up a little bit so that the servos and everything can, like, if I had to take the building off the layout, I could just set it on a table and not have to worry about like the servos and things like that. They would be suspended in sort of some sort of box. Anyways, I thought I was going to get to the track today. I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm exhausted and kind of want to wrap up this video. I do have one final thought, and this is more for you guys out there. I'm still thinking about the windows. And so I've painted the building white, and I've painted the base the same gray as this. So that would go in like that. Well, I thought about leaving it just a plain plastic, but I don't really love it. I'm not really sure what I want to do. So I guess option 1 is leave it the way it is. Option 2 is to spray paint the grill the white so it sort of matches the rest of the building. Option 3 is to spray paint it the dark gray that was the that's all the steel basically. So let me know in the comments what you think I should do with this color wise. I'd really like to hear what you guys have to say. And yeah, I guess I will see you next week, and we will try to get this track work done. This took a lot longer than I thought it was going to do. So, but I'm in no rush. I don't have a layout yet. So this is really, once it's done, it's just going to be a cool project that's done. So thanks, guys. Well, here it is, all lit up. I went and I soldered some of my breadboard cables right onto the leads, just temporarily, just so I could see what it looks like. I am very impressed with how this came out. So I'm excited to get the last pieces done. I just have to finish painting the guardrails. I just primed them, but I need to get them yellow and put the little walkways on. Then we can worry about track and starting to put together in the other steel work and how we're gonna hide other cables. The other thing I want to think about is the weathering. Obviously, this is a machine shop for locomotives. There would be grease and oil and dirt. Let me know in the comments what you think, what I should put. I obviously also want to clean up the super glue because it's a little glossy. Maybe a little clear coat or dull coat on it, just to help.